Baltimore. Welcome to each and every one of you. I certainly appreciate your support, all of our listeners all over the country, all right here in the city of Baltimore, in the heart of Baltimore. We are thankful for this day, even though it's overcast at about 61 degrees. It's all right. We're here. We're alive. We're breathing, and we have another opportunity to make this another day of thanksgiving and another day of gratitude and thankfulness for whatever it is, because we all know it could be worse. Again, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People, and please say hello to my co-host, Mr. Leo Burrows. Good morning, Leo.
Well, good morning, everyone, and praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition to justice, for justice, decency, and fair play.
Absolutely. And our producer and also our co-host, Mr. Jason Rodriguez. How are you this morning, Jason?
I'm doing well, family. Peace and blessings. Just want to remind everyone we are now streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube Live. So all you have to do is use the hashtag Meet the People on any of those platforms, and you'll get to see your co-host, your guest, and Patrick Henderson every Monday in all of his glory.
Well, man, God is good, and his glory is upon all of us, because we woke up this morning and we breathed in the oxygen, the pneuma of God. And I tell you what, you might not say that it exists, but when you think that you ain't got no oxygen, I think you'll come back to the reality that there must be a greater source than we ourselves, because we didn't wake ourselves up this morning. Oh, we're thankful for this day. And I just want to keep saying that no matter what you're saying, no matter what you're thinking, remember to always be thankful and show that love to each other, and it'll be a better place that we can coexist in. Well, an interesting show that we have planned for you. I'm waiting for my guest to come. I haven't heard from him, but I won't even announce his name until I know that he's in the building and is on his way here. Leo?
Yes.
There was an interesting conversation that took place this morning on the Larry Young Show about the police department and the new selection of the police commissioner. Of course, as always, you normally have a very, very clear understanding of what the issues are and why they are not being dealt with appropriately. I'm going to give you this time to expound upon your feelings and your thoughts, and I want to open up the lines early, 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010. We want to talk about the selection of the new commissioner, and is the mayor being as transparent as she should be with the people, since this person is going to be working for us. So, Leo, go forward. Come forth, sir.
Yes. Well, in my opinion, the mayor is not being transparent in any way. I mean, Andre Davis is a city solicitor, and she hires and fires the city solicitor, which is the city's official mouthpiece legally, the official attorney. And, of course, it is a political football we're talking about with the selection of this new police commissioner. I simply said this morning that the mayor needs to lift the veil of secrecy surrounding the process. And I'm wondering out loud why there isn't a process which includes community vetting. In other words, if the mayor selects 5 people as finalists or 6 people as the finalists, why can't we be made aware of who these individuals are? And why can't we have a panel of persons, community people, who are going to be involved in at least giving our input as to those finalists? That's one way to look at it.
Yes.
And when I raised these kinds of issues, I got pushback from some of the callers. I also said that Darrell D'Souza, this is still a mystery to me. Darrell D'Souza was pushed out of the position in 90 days or less as police commissioner because they said he failed to file his taxes for 2 years, but they acknowledged that he paid his taxes through payroll deductions because he'd worked for the city force 25, 30 years, grew up in the police department, had one primary job as he moved toward the ascendancy on the command staff of the police. So my question still is, what was this Mr. Herr? Mr. Herr is the federal attorney for the District of Maryland. He's an Asian American appointed by Donald Trump. But is he the one that pushed for D'Souza's ouster? I wondered why the mayor would accept D'Souza's resignation based simply on the failure to file taxes, which was a misdemeanor. Is he under indictment? Was he under indictment? All kinds of speculations abounded about the gun trace task force and all kinds of things. I was of the opinion that he was stepping on somebody's toes, and especially after he appointed a special investigative panel to review Detective Sean Souter's death. I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back with the Fraternal Order of Police and with Police Commissioner Kevin Davis, former Police Commissioner Kevin Davis, who now appears to be the mouthpiece for the Fraternal Order of Police. So the Greater Baltimore Committee, keep this in mind, the rich folks who control the economics of this city and state, who big business people, are saying nothing in this arena. David Warnock and all the people who you have Donald Fry, who's head of the Greater Baltimore Committee, and others. I don't hear their involvement in this discussion at this point at all regarding the selection of police commissioner. And of course, Baltimore has been designated statistically per capita as the most violent city in America. The question then arises, well, the question keeps coming up about the sheriff, John Anderson, who appears to be the puppet of the Democratic political machine, continuously so. Is he going to step up and pick up the shortfall in terms of policing this city? People tell me he doesn't have a mandate. Well, yes, he does have a mandate. He's the highest elected law
the real news is
President.
You're build yourself as a moderate.
Higher than the commissioner?
Maryland Public Policy Institute, which is part of the state policy.
Okay, I hear you. I'm sorry.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So the sheriff is elected every 4 years, and he doesn't campaign for office because he's got it made. He's got the support of Bernard Jack Young and Mary Pat Clark, and they're talking about his badges for baseball program for the youth
I thought that was so
nobody
weak.
knows anything about.
Well, tell me this, Leo. I just heard, or I read, I'm not sure, that he has agreed to step up and fill the void, but he's only going to do it in the harbor. Did you hear about that?
It appears to be the harbor and Lake Montebello, certain specialized events where he comes out as a celebrity or his people appear as a celebrity. But what about the Southwestern Police District in Baltimore, the Southern Police District, and the Western Police District, among the 3 of the 9 police districts where we have the most violent crime and the largest number of murders in our city? We do not see any significant presence or increase on the part of the sheriff. One other thing I want to say, Gary Tuggle, as you know, resigned. And he said he's resigning. He'd take his hat out of the ring with regard to police commissioner. Well, guess what? He was never interviewed for the position of police commissioner. Well, I would have resigned as well. If you disrespect me to the point that the acting police commissioner is not interviewed, that's clearly a signal that you intend not to give me a fair opportunity to be in the running for permanent position as police commissioner. So there's so much skullduggery going on here. It's unbelievable. It's not a campaign issue in the governor's race. It ought to be, just like the HBCU issue should be in the governor's campaign in this race between Ben Jealous and Governor Larry Hogan. But they're not talking about the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars wasted of taxpayers' money, overtime expenses for the police, and the mayor apparently is a yo-yo of sorts. And by that I mean she doesn't seem to know what to do, or either she's being told what to do and she has to wait to hear from Mike Miller, the president of the state Senate, or Mike Bush, the Speaker of the House of Delegates, to tell her what to do with regard to the police. She doesn't seem to be her own person.
Well,
neither does Bernard Jack Young.
Yeah, well, that's an invisible hand, but you have
an invisible hand, and it's outrageous.
And it has been going on for decades. I want to can we lock Leo in? Please. Thank you. And we're going to go to the lines, 410-481-1010. I think this is Ernest, who is a former policeman. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about this. Y'all call in. Let's talk about this. We're not here to deride the mayor. We're here to talk about policies that are hurting the people. And we need...
Let's hear Ernest's expertise.
Yeah, let's see what he goes with. Ernest, welcome, Ernest. You have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, I have a comment.
All right, thank you.
First of all, if you go to the internet and Google the Sheriff's Department, their mandate has been laid out, and it tells you everything that they have been doing. They have been doing things that they haven't been talking about.
Okay.
That's on the internet. And I don't know why people, with all this information that you can get off the internet, anytime somebody says something about something, you should double-check it with the internet.
Okay.
Now, everything on the internet is not true. Everything is not true. But if you're smart enough and can understand, especially with the Sheriff's Department, they are not going to put anything on the internet that is not true.
Okay.
The other thing is this.
Wait a minute, before you go further, would you enlighten us, for those of us that are just a little bit lazy about reading or don't keep up, can you tell us some things that you think are pro that we should be aware of that the sheriff is doing?
He's the senior citizens nursing homes. He has patrols there to keep drug dealers and stuff like that out of there.
Really? They have a problem with drug dealers in nursing homes?
I mean, not nursing homes, senior citizen homes and stuff like that. They have a problem with drugs everywhere, but not nursing homes. I'm talking about
senior citizen homes. Okay.
Because a lot of senior citizens use drugs.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
And these drug dealers know when they get their checks, and they come in with the girls and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't want to knock the black community too much.
But that's okay. That's one. Give us another.
Well, I want to go on with you. I mean, you can look it up on the internet.
Question?
Yes. Yeah, he says we can. We know we can, but I thought maybe you had some things you could just give.
I want to continue on with this D'Souza stuff. I'm not going to have as much time as what you call.
All right. Well, nobody's calling right now, so come forward.
D'Souza. Dwight Pettit answered this the other day, Friday, and he's been answering it every week. But about D'Souza. D'Souza has not said anything about his removal by the federal government.
The feds moved him? I thought that the city moved him.
No, the feds moved him, and he hasn't said anything about it. Now, you have to remember that he was a part. He was a district commander and stuff like this. And the last case that he handled when he was a police commissioner about finding a gun on an individual, that case was thrown out. And then they came up with this income tax thing.
Right.
Now, the reason why D'Souza, in my opinion, has not said anything, his lawyers are talking with the federal government. Now, they can send you to jail for income tax evasion.
Unless you're the president of the United States, yes. Unless you're the president of the United States.
You're right. They can send you to jail for that's how they use those RICO laws. So, I mean, that's why he hasn't said anything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. Now, the other thing is, I heard a person say that, you notice that Kevin Davis has been on all the talk shows this disgraced police commissioner who came out with the thing that a black male wearing a blue coat with a white stripe down on it walked up to D'Souza, shot him in the head for no apparent reason. A person that didn't bring a gun, a person that didn't bring a knife, that's going to attack an 18-year veteran police detective that worked in the Western District and things like this, and shut down that whole neighborhood. Now, after a year, just about a year, nobody has collected $215,000.
Come on. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's collected that.
Right.
But they keep saying it was a homicide. Mm-hmm. Now, if it was a homicide and you got the name of David Bominka and you are able to go down to the grand jury, as one of the people that's running for sheriff says, you can go, we can go to the grand jury. How come he hasn't taken David Bominka, him and the other 4 Ds, taking David Bominka down to the grand jury? If they solved the case and proved that it was a homicide, they would get $215,000.
Right.
You wouldn't have to ask for money to stay on the air. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just ridiculous that people go for this bull crap.
Well, then you actually think he committed suicide? I've heard you say, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, it's very. If you're going to first of all, if you're going to carry out a contract on a person, mm-hmm. you're going to stop him from testifying against you. But that's not why he was called down there. Mm. He was trying to. Judge Bennett called him down there. The grand jury. They wanted to clear up the arrest of that caused the death of an 87-year-old black man mm-hmm. whose son or daughter was a police officer, and his wife died later. Mm-hmm. And they said that he was in a group that was trying to stick up Omar Burley and the other individual that was in it. And they spent time in the penitentiary, federal penitentiary.
Right. Those guys that they put drugs in their car?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's why he was coming down there. That's why he was in contact with his lawyer before he died. He called his lawyer before he died and was supposed to meet with them.
Why does his wife? Okay, Leo, I'm gonna get right to you. Why does his wife? Suitor's wife say she does not believe he committed suicide? He had too much to live for.
He was getting ready to go to jail. That's why.
Well, he was still alive. He was alive, and the children could have at least gone to see him. There was some hope. Now it's no hope for the children.
The reason why she's going to say that, if she said he committed suicide, do you think she's going to get all that money?
She already got it, didn't she?
No.
She didn't?
She didn't get that insurance money.
She didn't? Why?
No.
Why? Because there was a non-suicidal clause?
It hasn't been. It hasn't been after this latest investigation, what they say was suicide. Mm-hmm. That she can't get that. The insurance company can't pay her on no suicide.
See, that's why I don't.
White people can do anything they want to.
I know, but I think that's why he wouldn't have done it, because he knew he would have left them barren without money. That's why I don't think that he would have done that. What, he got 5 kids? I don't think even nobody who's that dumb. You know.
Well, I don't know what you know about a federal penitentiary. A federal penitentiary, you can go to a federal penitentiary and die at any time. Now, he didn't lied on people, putting them in jail. There's certain people that go to prison mm-hmm. that is not safe at all.
Okay.
People that violate children,
right?
Rapists, mm-hmm. and dirty police. And they testified against him, the people that he first worked with in the Western District, mm-hmm. that he was robbing people while he was in the Western District. And they was with him when he was robbing people.
So were they not robbing people?
Yeah, they got found guilty.
Yeah, okay. All right, Leo, go ahead. I hear you. Go ahead, Leo, come forward.
I want Ernest and the callers to weigh in on what are we going to do in Baltimore City at a time when the police, under the direction of the Fraternal Order of Police and others, are taking a knee. We have no protection of law enforcement as relates to the black community. What are we going to do? You say the sheriff can't do it. He's patrolling nursing homes. We know the sheriff protects the courthouse. We understand that. Now, what are we to do in the absence of law enforcement to protect our homes, our children, and community? Because that's what we're faced with in this city, with a mayor who's not transparent, a city council that's not transparent. We have no protection. Do we need to set up our own neighborhood patrols? And can we not, as the Jewish community does, why can't we patrol our own neighborhoods in the absence of Baltimore City Police, in the absence of state police, in the absence of the sheriff? When we have no protection. All we've got is rhetoric.
And
now,
we also
protect us in terms of we have a consent decree that is not working and does not work. Now, who's going to protect us, Ernest?
Well, the police that are out there, all the police are not taking a knee. First of all, every time they make an arrest, they make money.
Oh, really?
You make money. You go to court. You get paid for locking people up. At one time, you didn't.
But then why are we paying all this money in overtime and crime is going up?
Well, let me put it this way. If a person decides if they say we need some extra police to patrol Park Heights Avenue from Park Heights, Cold Spring to Rogers, and the guy signed up for overtime, he's not going to do that for free.
I didn't say he was, but I know he's not.
Yeah,
we know they don't
get paid.
We know that. So what is your point?
The point is, if a homicide detective, we have a lot of homicides, if he's supposed to get off at 4 o'clock, and he gets a homicide at 3:30, he can't leave that until all the preliminary investigation, the crime scene, and all that is taken care of. Now the uniformed police go door to door and knock and try to find out, get additional information. But all the homicide stuff has to be done by the homicide detective. They're supposed to be experts on that.
All right.
And they're going to get paid.
Exactly.
Because they can't leave.
But that doesn't answer the question as to with all this overtime and the millions of dollars. In fact, the police, there's a policeman who makes more than the mayor? That's really unbelievable, and crime is going up. How do you keep paying people for jobs that they obviously are not doing?
One thing you do is, if you don't want them to get that overtime, you change the schedule and let them go to court at the time that they're working.
But it hasn't been done.
Why hasn't that been done?
I'm telling you, you asked me what can be done. You can say, well, you don't work midnight tonight. You got court time. You go to court. Now, the problem with that is...
Takes them off the street.
It takes them off the street.
Okay, I hear you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is...
Come quickly, we get the lines are buzzing.
Okay. The police is not... people keep saying the police is out there to protect and serve. Now, anybody that say that with all the unarmed black people and black women that have been killed and Mexicans that have been killed by the police, you keep saying, we're out here, they're supposed to be protecting and serve. After thousands of years, they've never been out there to protect and serve.
Not us, but they are to protect white people.
Yeah, they
and the reason
some white people.
No, well, it seems like you murder somebody white over in Fells Point, you're caught within 30 days. Up there in what's the other place of the Mount Vernon? That guy was killed. They caught that killer in 2 weeks? But when something happened, and the mayor came to his vigil.
Crime figures, the Jewish mafia, Murder Incorporated, the different crime families in New York and Philadelphia, and where they were killing people on the street, Italian mafia. Those people never went to jail until the feds got really on it.
All right. Thank you, Ernest. I've given you a lot of time. I always appreciate you because I know you speak from experience. So thank you for your call. All right, we're going to keep going here. We've got Diane. How are you today, sweetheart?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Well, are you doing good or are you well?
I'm well. I'm well. Hey, Mr. Leo, how you doing?
I'm angry. I'm angry because we're not protected. we should be putting a fire under the mayor or getting her out of office or whatever. Bernard Jack Young, all of them are sitting on their behinds, and we're not getting any answers about the police commissioner. It's the same process, and the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights, nothing has happened that is transparent, and there have been no reforms to the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights in the way that we need it to be to protect our interests. So we're just treading water. We're standing still, going nowhere with these elected officials. We've got to get these bums out of office.
Here's one thing, Mr. Leo. I heard your cry. I have been saying this for over 10 years. We can control our own selves. If we don't know how, we can get the Nation of Islam to show us how their men do, because they walk their communities in certain parts of, the different states and stuff. And we could do that ourselves. We don't, we could have fundraisers and raise that money for if the men need money, but we are to patrol our own communities, not the police, because what we have seen, they supposed to protect and serve, but they don't. You see what happened with the 25-year-old man in Federal Hill. They had the FBI, they had the sheriff, all the different police from the state of Maryland over in Federal Hill. Mm-hmm. That's how they caught that young man and that young lady.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But ordinary people like us that get killed on the streets every day, unsolved for years, and parents...
If ever solved.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And their parents are always suffering for their child, and they always remember that child, or or even their family member, because some men that wasn't even out on the street got killed. For whatever reason, somebody probably wanted to get in a gang, and that's what their initiative is, to kill somebody. Mm-hmm. And that's some of the homicides, but everybody want to link the homicides up with drugs and stuff like that. Yeah, part of it is drugs, but the other part is we keep forgetting about the gangs. When they have initiations, they tell young people, and we have to be honest.
Hold on for a minute, sweetheart. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Don't touch that dial, please.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
We're back, and Diane, you're absolutely right, and you're not the only one. You said you've been talking about this for 10 years.
Yes.
But we must remember that down in Sandtown, there was a time when there was an auxiliary police force brought in.
That.
And when they came in, crime dropped by 40% in the area. Police, the overtime went way down, and we have been trying to get to the mayor to present that to her. It is falling on deaf ears. So you talk about the Nation of Islam, but there's other organizations. There are men that live in those communities that would be more than happy to come in and mentor and talk to those young people that they know they've watched grow up. But there's no relationship, and when there's no relationship, you're getting what we're getting, sweetheart.
That's true. And you know what, Patrick, you're right. I remember the auxiliary police because the guy, I used to live in Windsor Hills, right, which is down from Warburg Junction. And we, the guy, he came to one of our community meetings, our community association meeting, and they had just got started, right, for the auxiliary police and stuff like that. But to Leo's question, there's what's your group is called? I think it's Out for Justice or Social Justice, and they had a meeting at St. Elizabeth over here in East Baltimore 2 weeks ago, and they gave us a paper to call the mayor and ask that citizens be able to review this new commissioner before she announced who the commissioner is. But I'm hearing that it's a woman. A woman.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I'm hearing it's a woman from Boston. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've been hearing it on the streets from reliable people that it's a woman that's going to be the commissioner. And when I said, when somebody told me, I said, well, you know what? We women know how to take care of stuff and handle stuff, in a much better way, and which will benefit everybody. But
well, you would think that would be the case, but do you think we have a female mayor? This is our second one,
right?
And for some reason, they don't seem to exert power that they have. And all right, thank you, sweetheart. I'm going to get to the other calls. Thank you so much. Love you much.
Love you much.
It is that they're all right. We're going to go. Okay, those are the three. Okay, Uncle Fred, our line is open, 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010. How you doing, Uncle Fred?
Hey, Patrick, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I listened to the earlier caller, Leo. I mean, not Leo.
Ernest.
Ernest.
Uh-huh.
You know, he goes on and on and on about this suicide thing. And all the information he gives is correct, you know, right on point. But this thing about this suicide, I'd like him to answer one question for me. Now, he said people should read. Now, I've been reading, and I followed the situation, I guess, as much as he did. One, the Fed said that Suda was not a target. That's in writing. He was not a target. Had he been a target, when they locked the rest of them up, they'd have locked him up too. Okay, that's number one. Number two, some kind of way Suda managed to shoot himself in the back of the head and then fall on top of his gun. That's kind of almost impossible to do. Then, number three, the bullet that they say killed him, they cannot match it to his gun positively. That's in the report. So if they can't match that bullet to his gun, he didn't commit suicide, regardless of what the circumstances say. Because they do have the ability to, you know, someone said that the bullet was disfigured. It only went in the dirt. It went in the dirt, not into a wall, brick wall. It went into the dirt, through his body into the dirt, according to their report. So whenever they can, you know, I think deal with those things now, I can back to something Leo was saying a little earlier about the mayor. See, I remember back during the primary, if some of us would have had the same energy we have, talking about getting rid of her now, she wouldn't be the mayor. But we you know, we kind of put to sleep on that one.
I don't think so. I think we were all charmed. I know I was. I don't think we were
Charmed
asleep.
by who?
Yeah, I was charmed by her. She's my neighbor.
I'll give you a break, Pat, because you're not from Baltimore.
Well, I've been here for 20 years, man. That, you know, I ain't.
Well, if you've been here for 20 years and you didn't know Kathy P, I don't know where you were at. Now, I've been in Baltimore for 50 years.
All right, keep coming. I'm listening.
Huh?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
So let's be for real about that.
Okay.
I mean, she's you know, when she, you know, I mean, come on, I don't want to stay on her, but when she told people she didn't put her hand on the Bible, it's like throwing a joke at the black community, knowing that the black community is a very religious community. It's like a slap in the face to us. I ain't put my hand on the Bible. She wouldn't have told the Jews that. She wouldn't have told nobody.
But I tell you, all putting their hands on the Bible don't seem to mean a lot to none of them rascals. They put their hand on the Bible and stick it up their derrieres, and they go ahead and do stuff that is anti-social and anti-helpful to the community. So the symbolism of putting it on the Bible, you think that really says who she was or says who they all are who lied to us.
Right. Some of them, you know, some of them are very questionable about how they, you know, how they be thinking and how they bring across our community. Just like, you know, images is everything.
Yes. Sometimes.
Well, in most cases, images.
I know. Even the Bible says to shun the appearance of evil. But there's some people just don't even care.
Well,
that's the thing. Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you. I agreed with you. I'm not from here. But, man, it don't take a blind, deaf, and dumb man to see what is going on here. Something ain't right, as the little children say. Mark, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, sir.
The key to addressing the issues in Baltimore are what you said: relationships.
Yes, sir.
That is the key that is missing.
Yes.
There was a past relationship between law enforcement and the public in Baltimore City, which allowed them to get things accomplished. When we talk about patrolling our own community, the police would do a job if we had a relationship, because then when the police comes to the community for answers, they would clearly share that information. Because generally, and again, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody specifically, but generally when something happens in our community, we have an idea who's responsible. Because they're not people that are coming from D.C. or Annapolis to shoot people in Baltimore City. It's usually local people in Baltimore City. So we got to stop pointing the finger elsewhere. We generally have that relationship. Another thing to be very careful about, because somebody worked for a police department 10, 15, 20 years ago, doesn't mean they know what's going on now. If I worked for General Motors 20 years ago, the plant has changed. The equipment is different. The personnel is different. So people who claim to be experts on Baltimore City are not necessarily factual. And we got to be careful allowing them to share information as if they have some inside scoop. Detective Suda's death was tragic, no matter how you look at it. if people have so much information, why aren't they closing out the investigation?
Right.
I mean, you have a guy who when you talk about changing work schedules so that guys who go to court don't get paid overtime. That's the standard in the industry across the country. That's not just Baltimore City. That's everywhere.
I thought he was offering that as maybe as a suggestion to try to cut down on it, to have them to do it.
But you can't you can't, because then you're going to take away from the staffing that you need on the road.
On the road,
besides that, if you have for example, if you have a radio show every day at the same time, somebody's going to call you tomorrow and say, all right, Mr. Patrick, come in here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. 9 p.m. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. Let's be legitimate. And one of the last things I like to say is when we talk about allowing or having others patrol their own communities, we still do it to some degree. When we mentor, we have these organizations that are willing to step out. We just have to be willing to have partnerships, and we have to have a government that's willing to go back to the old days and partner with our community.
I agree with you. Why is there resistance from the police? Even when the
I don't think there's resistance.
Well, wait a minute. Hold up. Let me just share this with you.
Sure.
And there are some people that can back this up. There was a time when the Fruit of Islam, the Nation of Islam, was patrolling Sandtown. There was a time there was an auxiliary police down there doing an effective job. And I understand, from my understanding, from the historians, it was the police that closed them down. Is that
I agree with you. No, I agree with you that there were relationships in the past. And again, as I said before, times have changed. And whether we want to admit it or not, if you go back and bring back those old entities and the old practices that did work, see if they want to be involved.
I think we do.
No, what I'm saying is I think our community outreach should be reaching out to the Nation of Islam, but you need to see how much they want to be involved. Ask them.
Well, pay them. But that's a thing where, and I agree with you 100%. But I got to tell you, I live over in Ashburton, up near Howard Park in that area, and there's a mosque that was right next door to a trouble spot that we had there at that Amico station. And I called the mosque and asked if the gentleman would maybe come out and talk to the boys. And they've since, disowned this person who told me, no, just call the police. And so we've tried to engage them, and even though they are a force to be reckoned with, there doesn't seem to be that agility to want to come and help from the perspective of footwork and involvement. Yes, sir.
That's exactly my point, Mr. Patrick, that we keep saying what they can and will do, yet when you go to them, and again, no knock on them, is that they understand there's a different dynamic. And we keep talking about how great they were, and they were good for our community, and they still are. I still think they are. But we have to be extremely careful by saying how responsible or how responsive they can be without going to them and say, okay, can you go to the city and say, let's have a work out a formal relationship?
Why should they go to the city when the city we were in such dire need of black men?
I don't want to put it on the city.
Why not?
No, I agree.
I
agree. No, I agree.
I think that they should, and that would show a sign. Excuse me, a sign of we want to do something and we want to reach into the community and do it instead of having people that we don't trust. And that's the biggest problem here in Baltimore. We just don't trust the police.
I agree with you.
And
it goes back to that original piece you said, relationship.
Thank you, Mark, so much.
Have a great day.
Yes, go ahead, Leo.
Patrick?
Yes.
Richard Terry was the head, as you know, of the auxiliary police in this city years ago, back in the early 90s. He had more than 100 auxiliary police officers. The city charter, and he can give you the specifics, but the city charter stipulates that Baltimore City is supposed to have a viable auxiliary police force. The Fraternal Order Police and the powers that be and others have worked to whittle down the auxiliary police unit now to maybe there are 4 or 5 officers
I think it was 3 the last I heard.
Yeah, well, that's by design, in spite of the fact that the existence of an auxiliary police force was mandated by the city charter. Then you've got Bob Cherry and Gene Ryan, who rotate as president.
Well, yeah, but Ryan is out, isn't he? Didn't he just get taken down? There's a new someone replaced him.
Bob Cherry.
Okay.
I believe it's Bob Cherry. They rotate as presidents of Lodge Number 3 of the Fraternal Order of Police here in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
They are resistant to community oversight and the Civilian Review Board of the Baltimore City Police Department. The mayor and president of the city council are resistant to oversight of the Baltimore City Police and to unveiling the cloud of secrecy that surrounds the selection process. So I don't care who you get as police commissioner. We're going to go over the same ground, same plowed ground over and over again unless we can demand a cleanup in terms of accountability from our city council representatives. If you have a city councilman, everybody within the sound of my voice, then you need to be talking to your city councilman as well as the president of the city council and the mayor regarding this process. We want a process that is open to public scrutiny, and it is not open. And until that happens, we're going to keep repeating this fiasco over and over again.
Yes,
we got it. The right thing or get them out of office.
Yes, Brother Brown.
How you doing?
Fine. How are you? Hold, Leo. Don't leave me yet. Keep going, sir.
I'm still.
Let me share this with you. Let's forget about the Nation of Islam trying to patrol these streets and help protect. They're not going to be funded, period, because of their anti-Semitic views on Jews. And that's all across the United States when you're trying to use them.
Oh, okay.
So we can throw them away. The funding is just not going to come through for them.
Okay.
Now, we had to ask ourselves, how many police officers are we really short? 600, 800, or 1,500? We have to start there.
Okay.
Then we have to ask ourselves, what task force do they have on the street right now to help combat this crime? We don't have a gun trace task force.
Because they're all in jail.
They're in jail. We don't have a drug task force.
They're all in jail.
As a matter of fact, the auto theft car task force is off the street.
Are they in jail too? I ain't read nothing about them.
So what do? We have the SWAT team?
Well.
So if all the where's the gang task force? So we have no task force on the street to combat this crime. But we do have a warrant task force that we can see in the wee hours of the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. They're coming to get you. Now, one thing I know that they're doing to combat this overtime is they drafting police officers without pay into overtime. Now, that's one thing that they trying to do to cut back on the money they spending.
They're doing what to police officers?
It's a draft. They have a draft.
Draft, and that draft does not pay them, you're saying?
Yes, the draft does not pay them.
So they work for free?
They work for free.
Really?
Yes. They would draft. Their name come up for draft. They automatic They automatic goes in and they work for free.
Oh, interesting. Leo, do you know anything about that?
No, I'm listening. I'm listening because I know that the warrant apprehension task force is participated in part with the sheriff's office is involved in the warrant apprehension task force along with Baltimore City Police. But I didn't know anything about free. I have to check on that. No overtime payment for police who are drafted. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying we have to
can't verify
it.
Okay.
You have to verify. Well, verify and you will find out that I'm right.
All right, we will.
And not only that, let me say this.
Okay.
When we talk about the most affluent communities, Falls Point, the upper part of North High, Waverly, wherever you want, when you commit a crime in their neighborhood, the reason why you're caught so quick is because they have surveillance cameras.
Yeah, they do that down there in Sandtown, too. They didn't catch Freddie Gray. They didn't catch them cops breaking that boy's bag.
But you had.
Or did they?
Well, they go by the City Watch cameras. And they have full control of that
over
themselves.
Yes.
So the question is, what City Watch camera are they using to help combat some of these murders?
It sounds like it's selective, and who does not trust, who don't believe it. I always believed, and I think that we should talk about this on the about inner city charter amendment, that we all closed circuit TVs that are monitored should be able to sit there and watch it and stuff and clock those things into their clouds and have that information. That's one way we could stop a lot of this foolishness that the police are doing and getting away with. It's also a way we could catch the people that are killing people. If it was closed circuit for the whole city. What do you guys think of that?
Well, Karen Davis said that they know who all the perpetrators are that committing the crime. And he said that was one of his favorite lines. But however, no one was never arrested from what we understand. They did a sting back up in February where they caught 228 of the most violent people in the city, as they say, but crime continued to pick up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. New criminals. All right. Thank you, Brown from Santana. We always appreciate you calling. Thank you. Leon Bailey, how are you today, sir? You have a question or comment?
No, I don't have a comment. I just want to know, if you allow me, this is Leon Bailey.
Yes, sir.
If you allow me to talk about an invitation that I received last week in reference to the city council tonight.
Oh, really? What is it?
Yeah, I received the invitation from Councilman Ryan Dorsey, my city council representative in the 43rd District. And I was really surprised that when I got the call, to the extent that he wanted me to be at City Hall today to recognize me for my achievements in the military as well as community service.
Congratulations, sir.
Can I give you a little bit of that information?
No, because we're not on that topic, and you're taking my show somewhere where I'm not trying to go. We've had you on the show. It's a great book, and I really advise that you give them the title of the book and where they can buy it. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
The book is Leon Bailey, The Dream, and they can call me at 410-323-6299, or my cell number is 410-500-6351. My website is Leon Bailey NavyWrestling.org, or they can go to YouTube to view the videos that I have on it.
From the mayor and the president. (410-481-1010). I want to talk about this new law that comes into practice today, where if your car is caught in the middle of the street on a light change and you're in the middle of the intersection, it's a $150 ticket. Y'all ain't, What'd you say, Jason?
It's called blocking the box.
Blocking the box. That is the most ridiculous thing in the world at this point in Baltimore, because these signals are not programmed to clear those and those entry ports. And all right, up on Garrison and Liberty Heights daily. cars are stuck out there in traffic because they're there and stuff, and they get out there when the light is green, but because the light ahead of them is still red, cars are backed up in there. So now the city is going to give you tickets, and they haven't gone and adjusted and set all these light signals, stop signals, or whatever they are up, and make sure they're all happening in consecutive times. Y'all need to look. Leon talking about going down there getting an award. We all need to be down there this evening. I'm sorry, I would be there if I had not a previous engagement. But this comes into effect now. $150. And those lights are not timed correctly. They are set up so that the city can make money. And nobody is saying anything. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. It's been on the news this morning announcing it. So $150. That's much more money than some people make in 3 days. And you trying to get to work, get home from work, do what you got to do, and you got to give your money to the city for those people who know that these lights have not been synchronized and are going to charge us for it, y'all. That is just beyond the pale. This is how they are predatory on the people of Baltimore. The city council is predatory on the people of Baltimore, and that's another prime example of what I'm talking about. Please. All right, thank you. Smitty, I'm sorry. Jason, I got you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Smitty, I'm coming to you. Jason, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, so I have a couple comments.
Come quickly.
One of your previous callers was talking about the cameras and how, in areas like Fells Point, Federal Hill, there's obviously security cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like in the black community, when we talk about police surveillance, it's a very controversial thing. When the blue light cameras became a thing, that was extremely controversial. A lot of people
still is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought, hey, they're just trying to, they are just specifically honing in on the black community to do something suspicious, blah, blah, blah. So now it's like, okay, now we want surveillance. Now we want this increased police presence. Back in 2015, after Freddie Gray, there was, there was a lot of angst. There was a lot of angst against having increased police presence. So we really have to communicate exactly what we want. Do we want increased surveillance? Do we want increased police presence? What is that going to look like? Do we need the assistance from the community, from the Nation of Islam, from any other community organizations that can assist in that policing effort?
Well, tell me this, though. I agree with you 100%. But when we tried to put those cameras over in Ashburton, there was a very vociferous, loud protest because it said that the property values drop when you put them in there. Is that true? Do you know that to be true?
I can't really speak on that. I don't know too much about that. Look, crime alone is going to make your property values drop if you're in an area that, is a very high crime area. So if you can do things to kind of prevent that, obviously
you would think.
You have surveillance. Well, you have surveillance in Fells Point. We just talked about that.
Right.
Look at property values there. So, it's a balance between, do you want to have, high crime, or do you want to have it resolved?
Yes. Do you think, I hate to cut you off, but do you think it's because there is a lack of trust with the police, that we just don't trust them, and because we don't trust them, anything that they do is suspect to us? Don't you think the years of that happening is a cause for us feeling this way?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, a lot of it within the black community is definitely a distrust of the police, and it's not entirely unfounded either.
No, it's not. That's right.
We have good reason to be skeptical of the police because we've long been on the bad side.
Yes, sir.
On the unfair side.
For decades.
So I definitely get it.
I was just reading this morning where in 2005, O'Malley arrested 1/6 of the population. 1/6. Who puts 100,000 people, black men, in jail?
Racist.
Who does that?
The racist
and he's a Democrat.
Mayor of Baltimore City.
Thank you, Jason. I'm telling y'all, it's just unbelievable. We don't seem to be able to get a break. Smitty, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Patrick, how you doing? Patrick, I do have that money for you from the last week when I called.
Oh, great, man. We're about to get out. Thank you.
The other thing I want to disclose to you, when you were talking about the Muslims being able to police areas, well, they were doing a fine job, but Ricky Spector and a few other how Islam Jews went there and said that they did not want them to receive taxpayers' money because of the way in which they feel the Nation of Islam has spoken about them. So they went and they had the city to stop using their service. So I guess the Muslims are saying, well, you didn't want us then, and none of the people came out to voice their opinion, to fight for them in reference to what the Jewish people were doing to them. So I guess the Muslims say, we're not going to be bothered. So that's just the way it is with us. We're in a condition where we can't get out of this box, no way how we try. You have just disclosed to the listeners that we have this thing in place where it's called, if you ban the box. Well, hell, if you, how can you not get into a predicament where you get into the box with the way the lights are not sequenced in the favor of you? They're in the favor of the city to make money. This city has done nothing but let it go down to the dogs by taxing and charging water bills and charging. I don't know what the city council is doing. We don't even need a city council because everything is solid with everything they do, and nobody knows what's going on, and nobody gives a damn. It is a shame to see a structure where people are paying taxes and not getting anything for the money that they're paying.
And being taxed even more. They lowered the speed in these where those cameras are, lowered to 20 miles an hour or something like that. 30 miles. You're trying to get to work in the morning. You drop the kids off and you speed off because you don't want to be late. And so then they're still charging you. It's like we can't get ahead because the city is just extracting predatory. It is predatory. I don't care what nobody say. They are not giving us a break. And this is just this box thing. Being caught there is a prime example. Thank you, Smitty, as usual. You always come in with the point. Let me go to Charles. Charles, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, I have a comment.
Come forth, please.
Well, I believe the city and the police are in competition, and the city may be jealous of the police. Because when you look at the police has multiple streams of revenue. And the city is creating multiple streams of revenue to be like the police. See, the police, they can allow a criminal to fester for years because they know that they will amass money that they can come in and steal. They will amass property and jewelry and other things that they can auction off. They can auction off, and all this goes into the police fund so they can get immediate money off the street. They get money that goes into the police fund. They get all the overtime. I mean,
this is
when you look at it, they reselling the drugs, they reselling the guns. They were talking about during the uprising, all those pills were enough to keep Baltimore up for the next year. Well, the police were the ones that took it. The eye in the sky didn't catch it, but they took it and distributed those drugs.
They did.
So they
and have been caught doing so. Yes.
And nobody.
So, but I don't understand, Charles. Charles, how are they in competition with the city? Because the city doesn't make any of that money. Well, I'll explain.
Right. The city is devising new nefarious ways to recoup the same type of money the police officers are getting.
Poor people.
The police officers are pocketing all this money, and there's no account of it.
All right. Hold, Charles, thank you so much. I got to agree with you. It seems obvious, doesn't it? You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Don't touch that dial. We're waiting.
Talk in the day. Soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.
If you have unpaid tax debt to the IRS that you can't pay, please hear this special notice. Specially approved IRS relief programs designed to aid delinquent taxpayers are now in effect that can significantly improve your financial situation. Depending on your circumstances, you may qualify to have your tax problem resolved in your favor and may even have your back taxes reduced by thousands or eliminated entirely. A relief hotline has been established by Community Tax for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-600-3010. If you owe the IRS back taxes that you can't afford to pay, don't let the IRS trick you into thinking you have no way out. Our highly accredited tax professionals will let you know what you qualify for and how much you can save. We may be able to stop all liens, garnishments, levies, and save you thousands. Call and see if you qualify for this taxpayer relief at 800-600-3010. 800-600-3010. That's 800-600-3010. Community Tax. Who's your tax guy?
BDX Live Talk Show is now heard live every Thursday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on 1010 a.m. BDX Live Talk Show with host Lou Fields covers business news, travel, community, politics, history, special events, and special guests. Tune in every Thursday and have lunch with Lou on WOLB 1010 a.m. BDX, the live Black Dollar Exchange, is located at www.bdx443.com. Have lunch with Lou every Thursday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. BDX Live Talk Show on 1010 a.m.
Did you miss breakfast with the Larry Young Morning Show? We got you. Have lunch with Labor every Tuesday, 12 until 1 o'clock on WOLB 1010 a.m. Cheryl and David and you and labor issues that matter.
Lunch with Labor every Tuesday, 12 to 1 p.m. Labor issues that affect and matter to you. Tune in every Tuesday, 12 to 1 p.m. on WOLB.
All right, then we got to keep going there. We had a few extra commercials today. I guess we're ranking there. We once didn't have any commercials, but that's okay. I want to talk about Lou Fields. Y'all listen to this show, and Lunch with Labor is another great show that I try not to miss. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, I just want to, before I leave you, I want to leave you with this message about city accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do with Rudy Chow, who's the director of the Department of Public Works for Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that the problem with billing is continuing regarding water bills. And that is to say there are still people, too many people, being heavily taxed, overtaxed, overcharged for water they've never used. That problem has not been remedied. The mayor is refusing to remove him from office, and he should have been removed from office years ago. He's continuing his high level of their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an example, in my opinion, of a person, Rudy Chow, Public Works, who doesn't do his job. He should be fired, and she needs to resign at this point.
Well, you know what?
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Leo. As always, you have a blessed day. I'll see you this evening at the Roots of Scouting meeting at 7 p.m. at the Church of St. Cecilia's on the corner of Windsor and Hilton. That's at 7 p.m. this evening. So you could drop Leo for me. Let me see here. Drop. Okay, I got him there. I'm still coming through. You hear that? Thank you. Why am I still hearing that? All right, very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to get right back to the lines. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010. There's a couple of lines open, 410-481-1010. Y'all, we got about 25 minutes. Want to hear from you. We got to talk. We must talk. Nelson, thank you for calling. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
I just want to comment. First, I want to say I want to thank you and Leo. It's the first time caller.
Thank you.
First time caller. No problem. I got a lot of friends who listen to y'all, but we can't get to the phone. But I just want to say first, thank you for doing what you're doing. And Brother Leo made a lot of sense. But what you just said earlier was so true, man. It's taxes for everything. I mean,
yes.
If you go across Lockmaber, Norton Parkway, and Towson, the speed limit drop down to 15 or 12. It's like they want to give you a ticket. It seems like they want to send you a ticket. So you spoke the truth about that. I want to say one more thing. If you cross Park Heights and Norton Parkway, it's like a new world.
Yes, sir.
When you cross Park Heights, Norton Parkway, like, can you believe it's like cancer within?
Man, I call it Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
That is, and I've said it to my Jewish friends that live over there. They got pissed off at me, but it's not about them personally. It's about policy. I call it Israel and Palestine. Yes, sir. I agree with you.
It's like they don't have compassion for us no more. It's like the police just don't care no more. And not saying that all our people is bad, because there's a lot of good people out there.
Yes, of course there are.
We don't take time and interest and show love to one another, had compassion. Of course the police don't care. Of course the camera's crooked. We know what happened to Freddie Gray. We're not stupid.
Right.
Everybody see what's going on. They know the police broke that boy's back and had to lift him up and put him in the truck. We seen that.
Exactly.
Come on. We think we don't see this, but when we don't have compassion for each other, and you got the police force who are not really taking interest in our young black brothers, even though, someone's off the hook, But if you take time to show love and respect one another and pick compassion back in, because we don't have compassion no more. We don't care no more.
But I agree with you, but I wonder if we ever have. We must never forget the residual effects of enslavement, that we've tried to protect our children from the master. Now we're doing those same tricks on our kids, talking to them like they are criminals, treating them like they're not human beings. Listen, I talk about it all the time. We got to figure out how to change how we talk to each other and to our children. And until we figure that out, we're going to keep being angry with each other, not getting along with each other, not trusting each other. 70% of all black women, they say, will never marry because of the lack of trust within us as a people. So we not only need prayer, but we need to get up and start saying, hey, do I have to talk to her like that? Let me come at this another way. That's what we need to do. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Patrick, I just want to say one thing, brother. Until we know how to respect one another.
Yes, sir.
If you don't put respect first, we're not going to go nowhere.
I agree with you 100%. Yes, Jay.
Patrick, didn't you say that there was a representative or someone down at City Hall one time that told you that they looked at it as taking back their land, like taking back Lower Park Heights?
Oh, yeah, please. That's exactly, not only taking it back, but you can look at it. They're tearing those houses down, and wherever they tear the houses down, normally when they build them back up, black people can't afford to live there unless there's a certain number set aside for low-rent housing. So absolutely, we see it up in Park Heights, which is a beautiful community, but you see the areas that they're tearing down. And if you notice that that Upper Park Heights gets most of the money from the Pimlico Racetrack Fund,
the
PCDA, and they're the only ones up there with bilingual education programs that are teaching the Russian Jews to speak English. And they're getting the money for that. Nobody else is there. You don't hear, I haven't read anything where the Hispanics are getting bilingual education, and the money is going to Upper Park Heights, Israel. And I don't care who I offend about it. It's the policy, sweethearts. It's not about you personally. And so we need to get over that. Paul, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
No
Just
problem.
want to read something real quick.
Okay.
Private prisons suing states for millions if they don't keep them full.
Come on.
Low crime rates bad for business for white-owned private prisons. They demand states keep them full. That's what our problem is, Brother Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Under that O'Malley administration, I'm going to tell you, this is residue from that O'Malley administration.
Yes, sir.
I pray to God he never get a job in any type of position to cause any more harm. That zero tolerance did a lot to this city, along with the shaky mayors that we have got and all the other politicians. Look, I will say this, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I blame the old people. I blame you old people, and here's why. You all know the leadership that we have in this city. If the young people ain't voting, then it's you old people that I see at the polls voting for these same old president, council members, and all the rest of them that's down there. If we're going to make a change, it's time to clean house. These people have had this position for years, and ain't nothing happening. The Jack Youngs and everybody else, it's time for them to go. Bring some fresh young blood in there, like the guy that sit on the council for the police overseer. What's the young guy? Oh, God.
Oh, Kevin McKinstry. I mean, Marvin McKinstry. Adam Jackson, LBS. Davon Love.
The young guy that told him they weren't going to get the money for the overtime. What is his name? Young guy. Oh, God, I forget his name. But anyway, people like him that's trying to make a difference in Baltimore, that's what we need, you know?
Yes.
Our young kids are in trouble. And guess what? This is just a residue. But whatever you reap, that you want to sow.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
He wasn't talking about Councilman Brandon Scott, was he?
I don't know about Brandon Scott, but I know that Joshua Harris is running for the 40th district, and he's somebody we need to put on there because the other guy on that in the 40th is Nick Mosby. And I can tell you from personal experience that Nick has some tricks up his sleeves, and he just can't be trusted. We really can't. We need a Joshua Harris in the 40th district. Yes, Delegate Ali, I'm going to him now. Yes, sir. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's talk show. How are you, Mr. Ali? Delegate.
Oh, good. Thank
thank you, Patrick, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you're doing in the community.
Thank you.
I had a few quick comments.
Okay.
First of all, about the police department. In order for you to solve a problem, you have to identify what that problem is.
Yes, sir.
And a new commissioner won't solve the problems internally within the police department. Case in point, we done had about 5 or 6 commissioners in the last,
5-7 years?
Right. And so the other thing that I wanted to comment about, one of the things that we think is a solution is to criminalize people. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. We try to criminalize being poor with panhandling. Now we're trying to criminalize the little squeezy kids.
Yeah, sir.
Who have no other opportunity to make legitimate income other than doing that. And I'm not excusing some of the conduct that took place, but we got to find better solutions.
We do. They criminalize the kids that were selling water on the street in the summertime. Instead of looking at it, I don't understand. And I'm going to tell you something. I had one experience, one bad experience, and I used to give them kids money all the time. I keep extra change in there. And Brother Ali, I have told the kids, hey, boys, I don't have any money today. I can't, I can't. And do you know they clean my window anyway? Oh, that's all right, sir. We're going to do it anyway. Then I go and I find some paper in my wallet to give them because they showed their true hearts by saying, we just want to work, man, and thank you for respecting us as human beings and not as some kid out here trying to hustle you out of your money. If they're willing to work for the money, that should mean something to us. But we want to villainize them and make them fellas. They come up to the car and we cross our eyes and be angry. Did you see the other day when they cleaned this man's car and when they asked for money, he took out a mace gun and sprayed him in the eyes? Did you read about that? It's just sad. Yeah. So it's some stuff going on that people are using this as an excuse to just to fight and to hurt our children. So we got to rethink this. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
So one of the things is that it's so many key positions within the city government right now that are not filled, from the police commissioner. We got the health commissioner.
Lost her.
I believe the mayor's chief of staff. You got the director of civil rights. You have Tom Solser from the planning director.
Resigning.
Yeah, director of Charm City. You have the pension system director. So I'm saying, man, we got a whole lot of vacancies that are left unfulfilled, and we got to get a handle on this stuff.
Well, isn't that the job of the mayor, though? Isn't that her job? It's administrative.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing.
I propose, Patrick, disbanding the police department. I don't buy into that notion that it's one bad apple. We're finding out time and time again. They just had 20 additional officers indicted from the gun trace task force. So, I mean, it's a culture, and it's not demonize the good police who are doing their job.
No, but then I agree with you, because I have talked about, I've been in meetings with them, and they hate them. They say when they send them bad guys to their cars, they say, no, you can't get in my car. I'm not riding with you. Then the guys go and talk to their leader, the lead officer, and they force them to take those bad guys in the car with them. And I sat there with a room full of policemen, and they all said the same thing. We know who they are, and the captains know who they are, but they still send them out. Thank you so much, sir. Mr.
What
Delegate
took
Ali.
place just recently with Tuggles saying that he didn't want the position, and T.J. Smith resigning and saying that there was some inner fighting going on.
Much inner fighting.
Right. And to me, I think it's way past time for a receivership.
Leo and I, we've been saying it for a long time. Charles, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
I have both.
Come forward. All right.
I just want to tackle the squeegee boys. Now I know they are youth and they are not breaking the law, but Mr. Henderson, a lot of those young men are on drugs. They are on pills, unfortunately. And what we must realize is that's why they're out there. A lot of them.
How do you know that?
Because when they're trying to clean my windows, they're nodding off. Now, I'm not saying 100%. Yes, I'm not saying 100% of them, but I'll say a good 70 to 80%.
Really?
Yes,
Man,
sir.
I see them kids standing on the corner having a good time, laughing, running. They got a lot. I've never seen anybody nodding. If at all, I seen some old head over there nodding and stuff, but I haven't seen that. And and I go over the same patterns the whole time, so it's not like I'm out over the city because I goes to work, church, home, and back in my house. So I don't see a lot. But the paths that I'm on, I've never seen anybody look lethargic or like they were on drugs.
Sometimes the pills, they won't make you they give you extra energy, like a Percocet or a Molly. You'll be out there dancing for hours.
But you think you don't think that's a little broad, though, to say 70 to 80% of them? You think that's, a lot of them are hungry. They all skinny. I ain't never seen no fat one out there with a squeegee.
Sir, 60 to 70% of the city is on pills overall, without the youth.
67% of the city?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Where do you get that statistic from?
You can type this in online.
In fact, there was yesterday there was on the front page of the Sun. It was talking about how Hogan has done nothing about the opioid, but 60 to 70%.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty unbelievable. All right, thank you, sir. Was that all?
That's not all.
Come quickly. What else did you want to say?
As black people, we can. I hear us on.
A very brilliant young man, Joshua Harris, was running the 40th district. And even far enough was we're sitting around and we're talking about what the elected officials aren't doing and what the police aren't doing. Police are in law enforcement. They're not in crime prevention.
Mm-hmm. Or counseling.
Crime prevention has to come from us. Okay, and if we're sitting around going to wait on elected officials to do anything for us, we've been waiting on that for 20-some years, 30 years, maybe even longer. And the longer we continue to wait on elected officials to do it, we're going to sit back and wait on them to do it, and we're not going to do it ourselves.
Well, you know what, though, Will? What about us that elected people that say they're going to do it, then they don't do it once they get in office?
I agree with you.
That's the problem.
Believe me, I totally agree with you.
Man, that's the problem.
People that come in and make, because there's no accountability.
Right.
And because they keep getting elected over and over again.
Name value, yes, recognition.
There's nothing else. The elections have become more of a popularity contest than elected people of substance.
I agree. Thank you, Will, so much. Always good to talk to you.
And Pat, just to update you real quick, we've had 10 police commissioners since 1989.
How many?
10.
Since 1989?
Since 1989.
Interesting. Money Mike, how are you, sir? Welcome.
I'm good. Look, I just want to chime in. When it comes to these kids, now I've traveled the city and I've given them money and this and that, but I agree with some of the callers. Now, the main point I want to talk about is, we want to condone this, but when I drive through the city today and I see young men and some young women out that should be in school, and we're talking about rewarding that behavior, but the main thing is, Mr. Henderson, why is it in our community?
Oh, because there's
adults. Look and ask yourselves, why is it in our community?
I can answer that question. I'm going to tell you why it's there. You know why them kids are there? Because they can't read. They never learned to read. And at a certain point, it became embarrassing. So then they started to act up in the classroom, and they got expelled, and they got sent to special schools. So they've just given up. Nobody cares about their education. Not many people care. Their families don't care about them. I meet them every day. They don't even know who their fathers are.
But again, Mr. Henderson, whose fault is that? When we
I think it's the parent.
Having babies with baby showers,
I know, man.
And Applebee's,
I know.
And this and that, and when we used to sit and say, "Wait a minute, if you have a baby, you don't go anywhere. You sit on the porch."
They just sent them out of town. You wouldn't know they was exactly.
What happens with us? We done lost our minds.
Well,
Father told me and my brothers, if you make a child and you don't take care of it, you ain't welcome in my house. Now, what happened with that? And what's up with you women that allow your sons to make babies and you sit up there and say she ain't no good, her mother ain't no good, they both whores? I done heard that kind of conversation.
But their son is not a whore.
Well, I'm going to tell you about your son. He was a bum. He's going to be a bum. And the father was probably a bum. But guess what? You chose to sleep with a bum, and now you're going to let another bum raise some babies. And that's the mindset of us, and I'm going to tell us about us in 2018
Well, you know, you're absolutely
We need to
right.
change our behavior, Mr. Henderson.
Yes, sir.
We need to be honest and truthful and stop playing games. There's nobody coming to save us but us.
I agree with you, but it's going to start with the way we talk to each other. When we realize how we talk to each other, building relationships with each other, and trying to trust each other, it starts in the home. In the home, sir. In the home. Yes, sir.
And whenever we talk about that, broken families,
yes,
children without to take some guys from my neighborhood with me for almost 30 years. And you know what I realized?
What?
I can't change certain people. The best thing I can do is change me. It's hard enough to make me be the individual that I am today, but I can lead my children and my grandchildren through proper leadership and treating my wife with respect, going to work every day, doing an honest day's job, giving good service to people, because I know that when you do good work and good service, the good contractors out here, the people who are doing good work, we stay busy.
Tell me this:
and I try to teach them about money and
Did were all of them bad, or were there some that became successful?
Maybe 2 or 3, but you know what? When I really look at it, no. And you know what I did? I wasted a lot of time taking them guys to customers' houses, them smelling like alcohol. Them got to take them to go get their jumper to get started in the morning, because I thought that they made some mistakes. But when I finally realized that, guess what? My father told me, and I'm going to tell y'all, he told me when I got out the Army in 1988, he said, not everybody's going where you're going.
That's right.
Michael Vick should tell that same lesson, see? And Ray Lewis, thank God he did it. But see, everybody ain't going where you're going.
I know.
And that's what I'm teaching my grandson.
Well, but I respected that you tried, but I think that we can't give up on everybody.
I'm not saying give up.
You didn't say that. I'm just saying, yes, sir, I agree with you. Let's start at home.
Let's tell the truth.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Money Mike. I appreciate that call. You're absolutely right. But my sociology professor said to me, he says, you might not reach all of them, but if you reach just one, you have done something to change that person's life and made the world a better place. Marvin, welcome. Thank you for holding. You have a question?
Real quick.
Okay.
I want to take the answer off air. I want to know 2 things. One, when I wake up in the morning and look outside, can you tell me one thing that the Black Caucus did for the people in Baltimore?
Man, don't get me started. We ain't got enough time.
I don't know what they do.
No, you don't get me started. But you know, we got a little hope. We got a couple of people down there, a few people down there. McCray. What's his name? What is McCray's name?
Corey McCray.
Corey McCray.
What is their job?
I think Corey is he state representative. And we've got
he's now a state senator.
And what's the other one's name? Is not Angelo. What's his name?
You're talking about Antonio
Hayes. And hopefully we're going to get Joshua Harris down there. We got to build up that organization, because you're right, they are totally feckless. They have done nothing.
Question. I know you're running.
Okay.
What has Elijah Cummings done? I'm 48. What has he done? I mean, I'd be looking around like, what has he done?
Don't get me started. He seems to be more national than he is local. I agree with you 100%. He needs to come on, be called on the carpet and ask what is he's doing. He seems to be really involved in the county elections. And if I lived in the county, I would vote for Johnny O. I think that he's progressive, and the other guy is a Trumpite, a Trump pansy, as I call them. So I definitely would vote for him. So, but I agree with you. We got to ask these people because I have factually proved that Elijah Cummings voted against President Obama and gave the local police artillery and military weapons when Obama said no. He Cummings and what's the other guy's name who won over Miss what's her name? What is our other congressman's name? He's in the Senate. I can't think of his name.
You're not talking about Bernie Sanders?
I'm talking about from Maryland.
Ben Cardin.
Not Cardin, the other one.
Mike something. I know you're talking about.
Well, at any rate, they all voted to give the police military weapons. Yes, sir.
They was going to redo North Avenue and bring in jobs. Have they did that yet?
No, they haven't done it, but I tell you what they are doing. They're planting trees. New trees all up and down, up and down that boulevard. They're doing that. I've noticed that. So there's a little progress. But thank you, Marvin, so much for your call. Well, Saints and Most High God, yeah, we all saints, whether we want to admit it, because ain't nobody perfect. We're all children of God. It's a great show. I really enjoyed talking to you and hearing what you have to say, because I cannot make you teach you anything, but hopefully I can make you think. I'll bring you to thought. First thing I want you to do is I want you to call City Hall and tell them they need to put a hold on that caught in the block or whatever thing that's called until they get these lights synchronized with each other, because otherwise it's just predatory. What they're doing here. They just $125 if you caught in the middle of the light that was green when you started into the intersection. That's not right, you all. You need to call your city hall people, city council people, and tell them no, that's wrong. Call the mayor's office and say no. They need to put that on hold until they can certify that these lights are synchronized in this city. That's one thing. The other thing is that Mr. Bailey, we congratulate you, but y'all need to go down there in City Hall and let them know that this is unacceptable. It is just wrong, as well as lowering the speed limit and with those speed cameras so they can entrap us again. Get off the people's back. Get off the people's back. We're overcharged for water. We're overcharged taxes. We're overcharged everything. Then you want to come at us and do this. God bless each and every one of you. I go all day, but we got it. Until we step up, they're going to keep walking on us. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next Sunday at 3:30 on Spirit 1400. God bless. Have a great week.
Soul at Night on the new 1010 WOLB. The new 1010 WOLB with Talk in the Day and Soul at Night.
What's up? It's your boy DJ Duke.
DJ Keish.
DJ Knowledge. Catch us live, the DJ Booth Radio Show, each and every Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on WOLB 1010 AM radio. Live interviews, artist spotlight, trending topic, shop talk. What's up, Knowledge? What's up?
Go.
Keys.
Let's get it.
Hey, Keys. This week's special guest, Ashley T. Moore, 11 Hip Hop, in the building, live, tune in it. Listen, also, I got Young Easy, Soul Raspberry Records on. He got his new mixtape out called The Resurrection 2. We're going to talk about it. Also, my guy, White Boy Frazier, in the building to talk about his new mixtape called White Magic. So make sure y'all tune in. Download that app, WOLB Radio app. Download. Also streaming live from WOLB Baltimore.com, the DJ Booth Radio Show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Discoveries in Health. I'm your host, Chris McKay, and I'm really glad you're with me today because today we're going to be talking about an issue that affects each and every one of us, and that's stress. And believe it or not, whether it's job stress, financial stress, family stress, or even the little things that we're told not to stress about, any form of stress takes a serious physical toll on your body. But don't worry, because there is something you can do about your stress. And joining me today on the phone is Dr. Michael Pincus. And Dr. Pincus is going to talk about stress and give us some great information on things that we can do to reduce or even eliminate the negative effects that daily stress has on our bodies. For those of you that may not know Dr. Pincus, he is a nationally recognized authority on natural and alternative health. He's worked with top Hollywood celebrities, professional and Olympic athletes, and he continues to be involved in the latest research into today's top health concerns. And Dr. Pincus, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be with you.
So let's get right into this whole stress issue. You know, stress is such a normal part of our daily routine these days, but why should we all be concerned about it? And more specifically, what's going on in our bodies and what are the warning signs that we should be looking for?
Well, you know, there's two ways to look at stress. One is what we call mental stress, and the other is how stress affects your body. As a doctor, I'm more interested in how it affects your body.
Sure.
So the way stress affects the body is this. When a person's under stress, the body transposes the stress into tension.
Okay.
And your muscles end up contracting. And everyone feels that in their upper back and neck. You feel the tightness?
Right.
As a doctor, I'm more concerned about the muscles that you don't feel, such as the muscles in the arteries.
Oh,
that tighten up. And the muscles, the heart is a giant muscle.
Oh, right.
And the muscles in and around your digestive tract. Because these are the things that are resulting in heart disease, digestive difficulties. And I want to talk a little bit in your show today about nutrition because there are two nutrients that completely handle the body in terms of stress.
Okay.
Now, according to the research that I've been involved with, it's as simple as calcium and magnesium.
Calcium and magnesium.
Right.
Okay.
When you're deficient in calcium and magnesium, a lot of things can happen. Calcium, magnesium, for example, is needed in order to go to sleep at night. And how many people do you know they just don't sleep well? You wake up tired, your body hurts more, pretty soon it starts to wear you down, and pretty soon you get sick and you have a condition. And people are suffering from pain and osteoporosis and fibromyalgia and cramps in their legs and weird illnesses. So there's something wrong with this picture. And it has to do with not how much calcium someone's taking in their diet or how many calcium supplements or how many antacids you chew. It has to do with simple absorption. Is that calcium getting absorbed into your body?
With calcium being something to deal with stress, isn't calcium for building bones?
Well, yes, okay.
Yeah.
And it does build your teeth. But you see, 1% of the calcium actually circulates in your blood. So when that 1% starts to drop, it could affect your heart, your brain, your kidneys, your organs, and your body shuts down, actually dies.
Wow.
And so 1% of the calcium always has to be in your system. And there's two sources of calcium. One is in the diet,
yeah,
and two is from the bones themselves.
The body will absorb it back from the bones if it needs it?
That's right.
I see.
And what you just discussed right now leads